Hello guys and welcome to this range review. Today we're going to be looking at the Cities of Sigmar and specifically for, does this work for Warhammer Fantasy, Warhammer the Old World? So even though it's technically an Age of Sigmar range, I think many of these things can be used for Warhammer the Old World. Some things should be used for Warhammer the Old World, and some things were even made for the old Warhammer Fantasy. So let's start off with the Rune Lord. This, I think it was shown during the previews of Adepticon for Dwarves as something that's going to be returning. This was made for Warhammer Fantasy. I think it's a great model. It really feels Warhammer Fantasy-esque, really cool pose, really feels this sort of new dwarven look they're going for. I think he's going to fit right in with the new dwarves. So definitely get the Rune Lord. The Sorceress, I think she's starting to show some age. I think two of these. Both have broken here. That might be some, careless handling. I think it's a fair model. It was this was also made for Warhammer Fantasy. You can see that on the base, which is still square in their photos. Yeah, exactly. She even comes with a square base, the wrong size base for Warhammer the Old World, the correct size for Warhammer Fantasy if you want to play like 8th or 6th edition. Yeah, I mean, if you're playing Dark Elves, why not? It's the cheapest model in the entire Cities of Sigmar range. We're going to see a lot more Dark Elves, but yeah, it's a okay model. I don't mind it. I'm not a big fan of the Dark Elves, but yeah, it's fine. The hair is a bit hard to paint in a way that looks good, but if you like painting hair, give it a go. Yeah, the Warden King, that used to have a different name which I can't remember. Also a part of the old Warhammer Fantasy range. You can see it's still square based. He's got this Oath Stone, I think it's called, that he's standing on. Really cool, looks really in place with all of the new dwarf models that have been released. Looking at, the stuff that's coming out, I think he's going to look great in any dwarf army. He's very cheap for being a G-Dubs model. Yeah, why is this photo here? This has nothing to do with the model. Is this their photo they put in when they don't have any photos to show? I don't know. Sorry. No, I think it looks. No, all the other. Yeah, right. Well, regardless of the site malfunctioning at this point, I think he looks great. Belegar Ironhammer, I think, was the old name for him. Yeah, great model. The Dark Elf Assassin, which is also called just Assassin now, but it's an old fantasy model. Again, we can see special base, square base. I mean, looks great. If you're going to get an assassin, obviously get this guy. Maybe actually, when I say that, maybe get one of the Blood Bowl players, because they also look sort of assassin-y. But no, it's a good model. I don't know if it's worth the price. You could probably just kit bash it, but no, I think it's good. It's a decent model. It's definitely made for Warhammer Fantasy. So yeah, check it out if you're going Dark Elves. Again, with Dark Elves, Black Ark Corsairs. That square based in the photo. I have some of them. They're really awful to try and stack up, but obviously going for bigger bases, they would probably be better. I think they look really cool. This is a really shitty photo, but no, it's other than that, it's a very good unit. I think it's definitely worth the price if you're doing a Dark Elf army. Go for it. It's got some really cool spare bits as well. If you want to do like a human pirate army, you could definitely get this and get some cool bits for it. Right, so some Empire stuff. Again, made for Warhammer Fantasy. I don't understand why they haven't just re-released these as square-based fantasy stuff, but there you go. So Flagellant, I really like this. I think this having a like an empire army consisting of, you know, halberdiers and crossbowmen and all these very well dressed fancy men, and then you have one unit of just religious mad lads, I think is a really cool dynamic. You also get a absolute load of bits that you can use for different stuff. So I mean, pretty much regardless of what army you're making, I think this is a great kit. Lots of detail. It looks a bit dated. I mean, all the old bits look a bit dated. Have they repainted that model? No. All the old bits look a bit dated, but you know, I think that's fine. If you don't mind scraping some old lines, you'll probably like the kit if you do buy it. The Drakespawn Knights, which are just the old Cold One Knights again. I mean, all the models so far have been basically one-to-one porting over to Fantasy or the Old World. These guys are the very same, still on square basis. Pretty cool. I always found it a bit funny because these Cold Ones are supposed to be the same ones as the Lizardmen are riding on, but these ones are so obviously cooler looking because they're much, I mean, they're a new kit, which means that they have way more detail, made way more dynamically. Really cool kit. All the little bits always fall off for me, or break off, but you know, that's what you're getting for getting spindly, having a spindly army. Well, yeah, no, I think it's a really cool kit. Works with the Dark Elves. If you're doing a Dark Elf army, definitely get some of them. If you're not, I mean, I'd still get some of them because they're really fun to paint. The lizards are really fun to paint in a way that I don't think the Lizardman kits are, because the Lizardman kits are so much older. The new Seraphon kits are fine, but these ones are, yeah, they're really good if you want to do a lizard. Right, so the first new thing, and we can already see that it's a character that is more expensive than a lot of the old units. I have one of these. I think he's really cool. He works really good as a like Lore of Metal mage. I think you can really do some cool stuff with this. The helmet, I think, is pretty cool. You don't have to keep that one. You can go for another helmet. But no, it's a really cool sort of base model for a you know, sort of almost tribal feeling mage or wizard of metal. So if you're doing a thematic empire army, you could definitely get this guy. I've got him. He's really cool, really fun to paint. Recommend. Right, it's back to some dark elves, some bleak swords. These are, I mean, these are your bog standard elves. These are from the era when G-dubs did everything multi-part. So it's one piece there, one piece there, one piece there, which is, I mean, it's nice. It's nice that you can, you know, have your modularity. But that modularity comes at the expense of everything looking very chunky. And these are, I mean, to me, they were impossible to stack up. Again, if you put the right base size on them, they're going to be fine. No, definitely, if you're doing, I mean, it's a good sprue. You get a lot of stuff. You can make make them with crossbows, swords, or spears. So, you know, if you're doing Dark Elves, you're gonna get some of these anyway. So yeah, might as well get used to them. Yeah. So here's the Dark Charge, which is the same unit but with crossbows. I think they're cool looking crossbows. I really like them. You can put the shields on the back. I think it's a rules legal thing to do, and I think I do it when I play Dark Elves because it protects them. They're quite high value units. But yeah, no, it's. I mean, they're fine. They do look. You can see that they're sort of past era Games Workshop, but not everyone minds that. So, if you like that sort of feel, definitely get some Dark Shards or Dread Spears. It's the same unit, but with spears this time. So let's move on to Hexbane Hunters, which I think was a not Warcry, a Warhammer Underworlds team. Really cool looking stuff. You know, I like this Inquisitor looking. This, well, you'd use that as a Witch Hunter. So if you want a Witch Hunter, get this chap. He's great looking. Some doggos to have as sort of unit fillers. I mean, absolutely. Who wouldn't want to put some dogs in their army? Same. This one could be sort of an Empire captain or something. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, you've got some really cool character options. So if you're going for a different aesthetic Empire than just the normal sort of halberdiers and greatswords, fantastic. Really cool unit fillers otherwise. I mean, this chap is huge. So you could definitely use this if you want some different looking characters. Dark Riders, back to Dark Elves. I mean, I feel like their entire range is still left, but just under the name of Cities of Sigmar. These are cool. These also make the sort of magician riders, which I don't remember the name of. They're really cool. They look younger, which is probably why they've put the round base on them. They look younger. They feel younger. They're really fun to paint. They have sort of a flow that binds. You know, when you look at them, the entire miniature sort of flows. I think it's really cool. Yeah, these guys are also a build option. I've got a unit or two or even three actually of these guys. Also really cool. Less fun to paint than the other guys, but that's my opinion. I'm not a big fan of painting white, which is bad because I've got a high elf army. The Collegiate Arcane Mystic Battle Wizards. You get. I do think you get 4 of these, and I would recommend this kit to everyone. The bits are so cool. You get the most epic bits in this kit. I kid you not. It's awesome. And you can build them. I mean, if you're going to do a wizard, I mean, even if you're going to do a high elf wizard, I would still get this kit. Just change the head for sort of an elf head. It's... I don't think there's any sort of kit that showcases the laws of magic to the degree that this kit does. I mean, it does it so well, and there's so much variety to it, despite having essentially the exact same body for them all. So yeah, get this. I mean, I really don't care what army you're playing. You should get the Collegiate Arcane or the old Battle Wizards. They're really cool. So the Free Guild Marshal and Relic Envoy. These guys I think would work okay for a Britannia army. They work spectacularly for an Empire army. The reason I think they only work okay for a Britannia army is that they've got so much Sigma iconography on them. So the twin-tailed comet is everywhere. It's here, it's on his chest, it's on his helmet, it's on his mantle clasp. It's really everywhere. But for the Empire, this is the perfect kit. I've got it. It's really fun to paint. Look, I mean, you could give the boy guns. It's really cool. It's a great way of getting some sort of Empire captain or general, and even, I mean, you could use this as a battle standard. It doesn't really stand out, but I'm sure you'll find a use for it. Really cool kit. Comes with lots of options. Really fun to put together as well. Right, so back to dwarfs again. I think these were showed for all of these varieties were shown as coming back for Warhammer the Old World as part of the dwarf faction, which would be really nice. I think this is a really cool kit. This is sort of the way I hope that all of the dwarfs are going. They were called, for a while they were called Dispossessed. I hope they're going back to just being dwarfs. But yeah, really cool kit. Really like this kit. The detail's fine. They're very crisp. These ones are on round bases, but they were made for Warhammer Fantasy, so they do rank up really well. They paint up really easily. I missed a few mold lines there, but no, I think it's a really cool looking unit that you're gonna have to get if you're playing dwarves, to be honest. Same thing with hammers. I think these are really cool as well. I like their hats that are sort of flat topped. It looks pretty cool when you have them on the tabletop, because they are so obviously shorter than many other units, and that sort of flat top really shows it off. Right. Iron Drakes, same sort of unit package. I really like their helmets, and the metal beards look really cool. I don't know if I've seen these coming back. They probably will be. Otherwise, you're going to get them anyway, because they're really cool. This is also a really cool thing. You can sort of see it here. In the armor, they've got really, really tiny recesses that form these sort of gridded lines, which is really cool. I mean, if you just shade and dry brush, it comes out not very clearly as here, because obviously they've gone ahead and filled it out, but you do actually get part of that effect, which I think is really cool. And the guns on these are really, flamethrowers are really cool. And you can also build the dwarf warriors, or the iron shear, or they're coming up. Let's have a look at them later. Yeah, the gyrocopter, we know it's coming back for Warhammer the Old World, or being transferred, or something, because you get 2 in the new battle force or battalion, or whatever they're calling it. It's a really cool kit. I mean, I would personally not buy this kit. I would just, because you get 2 in the new battle force, so I would buy 2 of the battle force instead of buying this, because you get 2 for, I would assume, not that much more money, and then you also get a bunch of dwarf warriors or dwarf thunderers that you can either build and use, or you could just sell. Got lots of tiny detail, looks really cool. This again was made for Warhammer, the Warhammer Fantasy back in the day, so it's gonna work really well. I think it's a super cool army. There we go. Iron Breakers. Sorry, I forgot their name before. Also super nice miniatures. Really sort of shows what I think G-dubs in the end of Fantasy wanted the dwarves to become. And I think when we picture when those of us who played 8th edition a lot, when we picture a dwarf, we sort of picture the Iron Breakers, the way they use their shields, and the tiny axe man with a big orange beard. Really cool. If you're doing dwarves, get them. They're probably going to be out in a 20 unit of 20, but yeah, get some of those. Gyro Bomber, exact same thing as I said for the other helicopter. They're going to be back. Buy that instead. Really cool kit, but yeah, don't buy them separately. Drain Spawn Chariot, which also comes with an option to put horses, but I think we'll be back for that. This again was made for Warhammer Fantasy. It's going to work terrifically. Really cool model. The lizards are, I said before, really cool. The chariot feels very dark elvish. It feels evil in a sense, evil but elegant, which I think is the dark elf mantra. So I get it. If you're doing dark elves, might as well get a lot of these. Of course, you could go sort of a Cainite route and get a bunch of Daughters of Cain, but I think this is a really cool option otherwise. Yes, the Scourge Runner Chariot is the other option. This has a more sort of nature vibe. This works, I think, better with if you're doing monsters and the Corsairs. This works better, despite it being horses and not lizards, which I feel would work better with the monster people otherwise. Oh, here we go. It's got a square base even, so it's going to work. It's pretty cool. I don't think any of these come with square bases anymore, but you could just buy those separately or print them or something. Yeah, the battle tome. You're not going to have any use for the battle tome. It's got a bunch of pretty pictures, but it's it's not a fantasy work. Yeah, this, I don't know what you'd use this for. I like the model. I think it's really cool. It's all of the sort of Sigmar aesthetic does make it sort of work with the Empire. I do not know what you'd use this for. I guess it would be a really cool unit filler. You could definitely use this as a unit filler, or oh, I really don't know. There's probably a really good use for him somewhere. I just can't really see it right now. The guy up top is really cool. I'd like to use him as some form of captain, but of course I'm not going to buy the entire model just for the chap on top. So yeah, really cool. Don't know what you'd use it for, but yeah. The Ironwalled Great Cannon is obviously just a cannon, so you'd use it as a cannon. This is a new kit for which you see in the aesthetic, but yeah, it's a new kit. You can see on the arms of this model that it's got sort of the Empire aesthetic. This, I think, works really well as a great cannon, or using as a cannon for Warhammer: The Old World, as an Empire cannon. It's going to be way fancier than all of your other cannons, but newly produced cannon from Ulm. Your general paid extra for it. You could definitely make a cool scene with this. So yeah, I'd definitely recommend this. It's really cool. I wish I had one. Yeah, the steel helms. I put swords on all of mine. I've got 20, I think. I put swords on all of mine, changed the helmets, and then they work really well as Empire swordsmen. They haven't really got the same sort of Landsknecht aesthetic, but I don't think they look out of place. They definitely have a distinct new look. So they, with a bucket hat, the bucket hats or bucket helms, I think feel more like a Britannia thing, but they definitely don't look out of place. But they also don't entirely look Empire either. If you put some Britannia shields, they could probably pass off as Britannia. I really like to use them in my Empire army as sort of like a special swordman regiment. So this is usable. If you really like the Landsknecht aesthetic, I'd just wait for the Empire stuff to drop. If you like this aesthetic, go ahead. It's definitely usable. I would not be mad at someone rolling up with square bases on these, calling them swordsmen or something. We've got the Command Corps, which is definitely usable. So the wizard is just a wizard. It's a sort of necromancy wizard. Really cool. You could definitely use it. It's going to look really cool in any Empire army. I think you could sort of scrape some stuff off and use it as a Britannia priest, which I think would be really cool as well. Just fill in that S and file that off, and he would work really well as a Britannia priest. The Theobald with the incense is pretty well sculpted. This guy he looks very Empire to me. This is a knight of the realm that's jumped off his horse and is ready to smash some heads. Really cool. Really, really cool. Definitely get him and use him as the champion of your army. This is your bog standard battle standard bearer. Really cool. Banner looks sort of if you'd have to sort of change the heads. The heads are not my favorite. I think they are what's throwing it off for me. I really didn't like them when I saw them at first, but it's the wonky helmets for me. As soon as you replace that with a beret or some form of hat with a feather in it, it looks Empire. So this is cool. This guy, I don't know what you'd use him for. I mean, you probably use him for like 40k as an apothecary. He looks really cool. He would work probably best in a Britannia army, except for the Sigmar. That's on the knife blade. But yeah, I'm sure some of you can find a use for him. I think it's a cool model. I don't think he's very Warhammer Fantasy-esque, but there's definitely a use for him. This one it sort of baffles me because I think it's an awful model. It looks very chunky. It's almost cartoonish because it's got all these sharp edges everywhere, and the entire it's just a big cape with sort of a sword sticking out from an inappropriate place. There's I really don't know what you'd use this guy for in Empire Army. Maybe he has like an assassin for Dark Elves, but no, I for this guy I wouldn't get it. But you get a bunch of other stuff. I don't mind him coming along. This again, unit filler or something really cool. Feels like a heraldic animal come to life. So if you're doing, I mean, it would be really cool to base your army heraldry on this miniature. But yeah, I mean it's a cool bloke. So yeah, all in all, I think this unit is definitely worth getting because the price when you split it out on the 5 or models or so you're getting, I think is pretty good. You could probably get use out of most, if not all of them. And Galen and Doralia van Denst are really cool. Again, witch hunters. To me, they're really obvious witch hunters. So they look Empire. They look Empire ready. They've got the Empire feeling. I definitely, do get them. They're really cool. I love the hat option. It feels very witch huntery. No, do get them. Do use them in your army. Obviously, there are way more witch hunter options than you're ever going to use for the old world, unless you're doing a witch hunter army, which that's cool. It's bad, but yeah, it's cool. But you really have your pick of the litter with which one's your favorite. Right, so back to some Dark Elf stuff. Again, made for fantasy. Really expensive. They are outrageously expensive compared to some other stuff. But no, I think they're cool. I really like the sort of black color scheme they've painted them in. I think it works. These again are from sort of the chunky era, but I really don't think they look that chunky. I think they look maybe not modern G-dubs, but they're not too far off. I think they do definitely look all right. Oh, it's even got a picture of the old box, which I know you're not getting when you're ordering it. You're going to get a plain white box because it's online only. But yeah, it gives me nostalgia just to see the old box with the Citadel logo in the corner and the old Warhammer logo. So yeah, good times. And the other build option, this is the same box. The Executioners, not my favorite. Executioners of Hargarneth, I think they were used to be called. Not my favorite, but to each their own. Enormous swords, sort of cartoonishly large swords. But yeah, it's an alright kit. If you like this aesthetic, definitely get it. I think the heads are sort of comically small on the bodies, but it might just be that they're realistic size, and I'm very used to heroic size. But I mean, the hands are heroic size, so it is what it is. There we go. Free Guild Cavalier Marshal. I've said it plenty of times, but this is an Empire model that just comes in a different kit. So yeah, it's really cool. I could definitely use this as sort of an Empire general. Yeah, it's fine. I don't know if it's worth the price you're paying for it. I mean, £35 for one model is too much in my book, but it is really cool. If I got this for free or for like £10, I definitely use him as an Empire model. Changing the head, of course, because the bucket helms really are more of a Britannia aesthetic to me. You could have a different opinion. It's wrong, but you could have a different opinion. The Free Guild Fusiliers. This is really a unit that is it's an Age of Sigmar unit, and you see it because there's nothing really like this in Warhammer the Old World. I suppose the Skaven have some shield and shooting units, but obviously you're not going to use them as that. They could be some really expensive handgunners. If you want a really fancy army, they could be handgunners. They're not going to be able to use their shields, but I mean, if you want to model them with shields and say that they're made out of papier-mâché or something, that's fine. It's a cool unit. I'll give them that. It's a really cool unit. But it's also very obviously Age of Sigmar, so I don't think that we will have that much use of it for the Empire. But, you know, if you disagree, please tell me what you do with it, because I'm not going to use it. More of the Dark Elves. This is the Black Dragon. It comes with this one, or you could put a Dreadlord, I think, on top. I mean, it's cool. It's a very awkward model. Yeah, they go with the Dreadlord. It's a very awkward model because it's very long. You know, it's very tall model, which not many models are in the same way. It's very top heavy as well. So it's an awkward model to own. With that said, it's a cool model. It's a fantasy model, which you can see on the square base. But yeah, it's an odd model. I wouldn't recommend against it. If you like it, definitely get it. But I don't know. I own one or two of these, and they are really cool in real life. And they are, you know, obviously fantasy. So if you're doing a Dark Elf army, do get it. But I don't know. It's weird to me. The Luminarch of Haish or Hish. Is really cool. You can build this as a Celestial Hurricanum, I think, as well. I think this is a really cool model. It's an old fantasy model. Got the square base. You're going to be able to use it for fantasy or the old world. It's even got the Emperor Karl Franz left on the on the side of the cart, which is funny to me, and they've written France on the sides. No, it's a cool model. I definitely get it. I've got one of these and one of the Celestial Hurricanum. It's so detailed. It takes so long to paint because it is terribly detailed to a ridiculous level. You know, a disturbing level. Really cool. You also get, I think, if you build despite which one you build, you're going to get the option to have a wizard left, and it's a really cool wizard, and he's got this sort of snake staff. Really cool. It's sort of a traveling library, which I really like. So get one of these or the other, but be prepared to paint for a really long time if you want it to look good. Yeah, here we go with the Celestial Hurricanum, which I think they've gone too far. The barding on the horse is too well painted. It looks really cool. It looks too cool. Like, I can't do that. I suppose I could if I put a lot of time, but I'm not going to do that. I suppose that's what I'm saying. I'm not gonna paint this good. No, this is also really good. Again, it's just you've turned it around, so it's still got the Emperor Karl Franz on the side. You get some options. It's got the same, you get a wizard, hooray, and you get a little librarian that's scurrying around inside there. You get this scale model of the solar system, which is obviously terribly off scale, but yeah, so that's cool. I'd say get one of these, try painting it. If you like it, get the other one. If you don't, avoid it like the plague, because it is terrible to paint. There we go. The Dreadlord on Black Dragon. I've already talked a bit about it. Even though this one's got a round base, it was originally made like this with a square base and terrible photos. No, it's cool. I think back in the day you could put Malekith on, so the Dark Elf King, you could put on top of it, which I think this guy might be Malekith. He might not. If you couldn't, please tell me. But I'm pretty sure you could. It's a cool model. But I personally don't like it, but it's cool. This is epic. This is from some of the last stuff they made for Warhammer Fantasy. It's a huge griffin. I mean, if you look at all the other griffins that have been released over the years, this one is enormous in comparison. Really cool model. Really cool model. And you can build him as a second build option, which I'm going to show now here. The Free Guild General on Griffin. This is just Karl Franz. I mean, it's literally Karl Franz on, I think, Deathclaw? Is that the name of the griffin? It's really cool. It's got his coat of arms here. This is Karl Franz. This is Galmaraz. So it's literally the Warhammer of Warhammer. It's really cool. I've got one of each griffins. It's larger than you think it is. So no, I definitely recommend getting it. It's got all these tiny details that you got in like the end of Warhammer Fantasy. So it's really crisp, really fun to paint. I mean, definitely give it a go. And you can build them with, bog standard general, but why would you do that when you can build Karl Franz? The Free Guild Cavaliers or Knights. These are really cool as well. And again, what I did on these was I changed the head to be an Empire, very clearly Empire head, so like a beret with a feather in it, and I changed the arm that's holding a weapon to a lance, and then I changed the shield to an Empire shield, and then they just look like really cool inner circle knights, which I really like. It's a really cool kit. So if you like these, you could get them. You could just change some stuff. Again, the helmets don't really look Empire, but yeah, you could definitely make something Empire-ish out of these. You just have to do a little bit of modeling, and they'll work really well, but they will be really expensive. So this would be, or at least for me, it's going to be a sort of centerpiece unit. Steam tank. I don't know. Do I even have to say anything about the steam tank? It's a very classic model. It was made. There we go. It was made for Warhammer Fantasy with square bases. I think you could run it without a base at all. Really cool. Hasn't really got anything going on inside, but it's a cool model. You should get it if you play Empire. You should get like 5 of these because it looks really cool. They're really easy to paint because you could just spray them with silver. No, I recommend doing a steam tank because, I mean, who hasn't been a little boy that played with tanks on the ground, and this is your option, your opportunity to do it again as an adult and pass it off as hobbying. Pontifex Zenestra, Matriarch of the Great Wheel. They give them 2 long names, which is a complaint that I have. It's too long. Just say Pontifex Zenestra. That is fine. No, this is a cool model. I don't think you're going to have any use for this in an Empire army. You could model this. If you model it differently, there's going to be a whole bunch of scraping. You're going to have to get rid of every place where it says Sigmar. You're going to have to get rid of every place that has a twin-tailed comet. But then you could use it as the Grail Reliquary. Obviously, you could put a knight in, but just because it's called a Grail Reliquary doesn't mean you have to use it as a Grail Reliquary. You could use a different model that's showing something else that uses the rules for the Grail Reliquary, and if that doesn't make you happy, it's got a dead body on the backside, so it serves the same function. I think it would be cool to see something else than the normal Britannia aesthetic for Britannia, because this is also sort of a medieval feel. I don't know. I'm thinking about getting it. It's not exactly the style I think I'm going with my Britannia, but if you do some small changes here and there, you could definitely use this as a Grail Reliquary if you want something else than what's currently being offered. But I think the actual Grail Reliquary model is better looking, so I wouldn't change it. The War Hydra. This is an old Dark Elf model. Once again, you can build it as the Charybdis as well. It's cool. I mean, it's fine. It was originally made with the square base, so it's, you know, it's fine for fantasy. Yeah, it's a cool model. Works pretty well if you're doing sort of a sea creature themed army with the corsairs and everything. Yeah, I mean, if you like it, get it. It's cool. It looks a bit fishy. It's not how I imagined the Hydras, but it's a lizard creature with more than one head. So I suppose I can't say they did it wrong. You can see here we're at the Charybdis. It's obviously got entirely different heads, so they've done something differently. I'm not going to say it's wrong, it's just different. But yeah, also made square base, same kit as the last one, only more nightmare fuel for heads. Then we've got the Saviors of Cinderfall. I really don't like the Stormcast Eternals. I just can't stand them. But yeah, there you go. It's he's in there, but once again you get several options for witch hunters. Yeah, so you get some options. I would probably choose the other kit because it's got more that you can use. The other sort of Warhammer Underworld witch huntery kit, but you know, if you really like one of these, you could get them and just plop them on a square base, because obviously that none of these are going to look really out of place except for the Stormcast. Yeah, so here we have the Spearhead, which is on pre-order still. It comes out on Saturday. You can buy this if you want to use it for your fantasy army. If you want like this aesthetic for your fantasy, for your Empire army, you could use it. It's fine. We already talked about all these models individually. I think it's a great way to get the chap on a horse, because it's definitely not going to be worth money otherwise, because it's far too expensive. I think 85 quid is a fair price for what you're getting, and you could definitely use all of these stuff for an Empire army. So yeah, if you like this, do get the Spearhead. I think it's going to be a great way to start an Empire army. I think a better way to start an Empire army is going to be to wait until the Empire stuff comes out, but we don't know when that is. So if you're really impatient, you could get this and get started and start painting. But yeah, so that's fine. And now we're at the very last thing, and it's Talia Vedra, Lioness of the Parch. Again with these really long names. Why just give them a short name? Just cut out the title. I mean, in the lore, yeah, sure, have the title, but like for the model, you don't need the title, right? So anyway, this is some form of chimera. I think this is a chimera. I could be entirely wrong. No, it's not, because the chimera. Honestly, I don't know what creature this is, but it's cool. You could definitely use this for an Empire army. You just call it a griffin, because I mean, if you put this on the table with a square base and said, "This is my Empire captain on a griffin," I would say, "Yeah, cool, let's play." So you could use this. It's got a bunch of cool options. I think it's got because she's a woman rider, which I think is quite cool. They actually have a explicitly modeled version for that. No, so I think it's a cool model. I think we haven't got any lion heads that are as well modeled as this one. So if you really like this, get it. The only bad side is that it's 90 quid, which is far too much. I personally would never pay this much for a model of this size. Especially not if you're going to use it for Warhammer Fantasy, that has way cheaper models, and it's also very big. And even though scale creep has showed up in Fantasy as well, it's not on this scale. So I wouldn't buy this. But if you showed up with this one on a square base and said, "This is my Empire captain," I would say, yeah, that's really cool, let's play. So yeah, But anyway, that's all of it. This is the entire range for Cities of Sigmar. I hope you found any of that useful. If you're playing, dwarves or dark elves or empire specifically, it's probably good to have a look because you could probably find some stuff that you can use. So yeah, do have a look at that. Thank you so much for watching all the way till the end. Remember to like and subscribe, and tell me in the comments if there's anything you'd like to see me talk about.